Hi everyone, this is Erju from Microsoft. I am Dynamics Partner Technical Architect. Today, together, we will go through the Dynamics Customer Engagement Assessment Tools and the Migration Program for Dynamics CRM Solutions. First of all, before we start, you can go to aka.ms/D365 Migrate, and that will take you to a website where you could have a look at on some of the high-level explanations of how Microsoft approaches to Dynamics AX and Dynamics CRM migrations to cloud. And if you go even in the details, you will be able to find the assessment tool that I'm going to show you today, as well as there are some future comparison decks and pages which might be helpful having the conversation with your customers. So let's start. As I explained, many organizations today are actually planning to move into Microsoft Cloud. Some of our customers are still utilizing Dynamics Customer Engagement on-premise, where they have to pay for the IT personnel, the hardware, the maintenance, the upgrades they need to manually do every 6 months or every year. And on top of it, they would still pay the software licensing cost. This is how it looks like on an on-prem type of deployment. And for cost-saving reasons, many of our customers are actually considering to move to cloud. And this basically saves customers from the headache of thinking about and maintaining the hardware, doing the software and IT maintenance, and hiring new IT personnel to do all of these manual tasks, and they will have to do manual upgrades. So in a cloud version, you are just saving yourself from all of these additional efforts, and you let the Microsoft manage all of this for you. So for such an approach, we would need to be able to first assess how feasible is it to move from an on-premise solution, on-premise Dynamics Customer Engagement, to a cloud Dynamics Customer Engagement. To do this, actually Microsoft has a tool called Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement Platform Assessment Tool. So if you go into the link aka.ms/Dynamics Online Assessment Collector, you will be able to download this tool. So what we are going to do is actually we will connect to your Dynamics on-premise SQL server and first export some information about your CRM installation into a SQL, into Excel files. And we will then import those data, those Excel and XML files into a SQL server for analysis. And we will generate a Word document that will give us both a template for SOW, for a statement of work, for an upgrade project, and also some analysis reports in it, as well as we will have the assessment analysis reports through Power BI. So what we are talking about is we will get dashboards that are similar to this, that are analyzing the level of customizations on your platform, on your Dynamics customer engagement on-premise, to give you a high-level idea of, how many of your entities are customized, how many violations of, let's say, JavaScript customizations you have, how much DB space you need, which are your largest solutions. So all of this is actually reported through this Power BI template. And it actually has many more pieces of reports within that. And some of them are like, for example, one of them is this. So as soon as you go into the report, you would see how many of your entities are actually custom versus how many of your entities you are using out of the box. The more custom it is, the more custom efforts to upgrade it means. So you could see your distribution of your solutions by their size and the content, so you can have a look at on what kind of solutions to focus on when you're planning for your cloud migration. You can have a look at on some details about your SQL Server and the system charts. You could have a look at on your details on your SQL Server and how many custom plugins you built, how many custom workflows you have, how many custom entities you have. So a general look on what database size you need if you move it today to the cloud and how much of a customization you did. So on and so forth. So there is plenty of detailed reports around customization. So this is the Power BI part of the output of the tool. And the second part is a Word document. It gives us actually at the end of this process, it yields us a statement of work, a Word template, and upgrade assessment report. It starts defining what's in scope by default, what's out of the scope, some violations and findings for the JavaScripts, for the plugins, and it lists also with some visuals in the report how much of a customization was done. So this is all great and it sounds nice. How do we do that and what do we need to achieve this? So first of all, we need to have this Windows server or within a VM where we have the Dynamics customer engagement on premises installed. You need to have Microsoft Office installed so that we can generate that Microsoft Word document. And we need to have a SQL Server and Power BI desktop installed so we can save our analysis data in a SQL Server and analyze it further using the Power BI templates we have. And to do all of this, we need some user accounts with some admin privileges. So the process will take place as follows. So first, we will export data from your CRM installation using the assessment tool, and we will import those data into a SQL Server so that we can create ourselves a staging database to analyze all of this, and we will create reports out of it. And as I explained, these reports are Power BI dashboards and Word documents. So let's take a look at on how this is done. So I'm going to switch to a live demo to show how all of these activities are done so that you can follow the same steps step by step and do the similar analysis for your Dynamics on-prem installations. So here I have my Dynamics on-premise installation. This is a Dynamics on customer engagement on-premise version 9.1. And I have downloaded the assessment tool from the link I earlier mentioned, which is actually within this D365 Migrate link. If you go into Dynamics CRM and CRM Platform Assessment Tool, you will have a link here where you can download the Dynamics Online Assessment Collector. So I have downloaded this within my VM. And it comes as a folder similar to this, where it comes with some exe for you to run. It comes with some built-in SQL scripts, some Power BI templates for you to use, and some Word document templates. And it's going to operate on using these folders. So we don't need to change anything. All we need to do is just right-click on it and click on to run it as admin. So first thing first, we need to export some CRM installation information into some Excel and XML files. So I'll first do an export. And my installation, I'm analyzing an on-premise version. You could use this tool to analyze a cloud version too. So I'm going to you need to give the address of your SQL server. Since it's on the same machine, I'm just going to use that for a local host. And I'm going to use a Windows authentication mechanism, and the database name. This is the CRM database name that I need to go get. So I will open my SQL Server Management Studio. This is the database that I am using for my organization, Contoso MS CRM. So I will go ahead and paste that here. And I need to choose in what version of Dynamics I'm using on premise. So for example, in my case, it is a Dynamics 365 with a slightly customization done. So I'll click on export. So what the system does now is actually does some SQL scripts. It executes some SQL scripts on the Dynamics CRM database to collect some information about how customized is my Dynamics customer engagement on-prem installation, and it will write these information into some Excels and XML Excels and XML files within the output folder. So let's wait a little bit. So this process will take a couple of minutes because it will collect lots of information from different DBs. So it's completed just now. So what the tool has done is it executed some set of SQL scripts, and it has written these SQL scripts into this output folder with all these different details. I don't recommend you to go and touch any of this because we are going to write that into a staging DB. So if I just, okay. So next step is we will go back and we will import those XMLs and Excel files into a staging DB. So system will automatically create a staging DB with a date timestamp of that moment. So again, I'm using localhost to create this DB. I'm going to use Windows type of authentication. I want the system to just automatically find out, create a database name with a timestamp. So I will use that. And I need to choose the file path. So this is the file path we need to specify for importing these Excel and XML files from the output. So I had my folder under downloads. I will go to downloads and to assessment folder, and under my assessment tool, I have this output folder where the Excel files were saved. So I'm going to choose that and click on OK and click on import. So now it will actually, this tool will read the Excel files and understand from the XML file on how to save them onto a staging DB, and it will come back and save those into a brand new DB. So if I refresh my SQL Server Management Studio, you would see that I have a brand new one with 2021-09-21. So this is the most latest, and I can show you that all of this information is now saved in different tables. So we are good to go. So next step is to create a document. So I clicked on generate a document so that we can put some of these information and findings into a Word document and also have a SOW out of it. So again, I'm connecting to a local host. The database name to use this time is my staging database that I have just created. Whoops. So let me paste the database name here, and I will click on generate the report. So at this step, you need to make sure that you have your Office 365 installed on on-premise so that you can use the libraries that are coming from your Office 365 account. And there we go. So we have our report generated now. And so if you go under the folder where your assessment tool is and refresh it, and if you go to the reports, you will find this auto-generated report on a Word document. So this is what it has generated using the information it has extracted from the Dynamics on-prem installation. So As you see, it's an assessment report. It comes with a template and some default statements from Microsoft about what this implies, and it gives you a template on, who worked on this going forward, so you can keep a track of who changed what at what time. So if I scroll down, there are some default objectives and in-scope, out-scope type of statements here where you can actually customize it based on your customer needs and based on your upgrade project. And it added also some, like in my case, my Dynamics installation was pretty, let's say, used by maybe one user or two and very lightly customized. But for your case, you might have a much detailed report here. So it starts reporting on how many users we have, what is the customizations per component, how many custom JavaScripts we have, how many custom SQL reports we have, how many custom workflows we have, etc. So you can have a look at the work or you're going to do. The entity customizations, how many of the tables within Dynamics you are using out of the box and how many of them are actually custom, similar report for workflows. And if there is any major issues such as old script libraries or old methods of JavaScript libraries for Dynamics you were using, they would be reported here. And if there's any findings about a JavaScript or about the sitemap, that would be all listed down here automatically, so you can have a look at that and plan and estimate a time to improve them. So it has already some cheat sheet on giving a hint on what would be the unsupported JavaScripts and how to rework them. So you can use these approaches to change your JavaScript libraries to be more valid, more supported. So it goes on and it analyzes the plugins and findings about the plugins, to custom codes if there is any, to reports, to defining your upgrade process. Of course, maybe you are upgrading from a Dynamics 2016 to a cloud version, so you need to slightly change all of this, but at least it gives you a starting point. This is good as a starting point, but we need a much more detailed analysis of the environment, at least for the technical personnel, to be able to go ahead and have a look at in the detailed analysis of it. So I'm going to go into the templates folder. And we have Power BI templates, two types of templates you would have. One of them is for on-prem data loading, and the other one is for usually online data loading. So I'm going to click on on-premise analysis report template. So it will open my Power BI desktop. So at this stage, you must have a Power BI desktop. So we need to wait a couple of minutes for this to load. Okay. So as soon as it loads, it asks you some parameters for connecting to the database and to the server. So you can fill it in. Like this was our staging table. So I'm going to add that staging table name here, and the server name, I'm just going to put a dot since it's local. And I'm going to say maybe edit that, because I would like to edit the data sources before I give a go ahead. Okay. So at the first load, it will not be able to load everything, so don't worry about that. So what we are going to do is We will change the data source to reflect and point to our data source so that all of these tables are loading successfully. So I clicked on data source settings, and here you would see what data source these tables are using. So you need to change this source. So I'm going to click on change the source, and I'm going to type down my server name and my staging database name, and that's it. So I'll just click on OK and click on close. And if you refresh the preview now, it should actually load. For the first time of running a native database query through Power BI Desktop, it's going to ask permissions. So that is pretty normal also. So I'm just going to say close and apply. And it is going to start running all these tables. And for each of the queries, it's going to ask an approval from us. This happens only for the first time, so it's fine. Just click on run. So it shows you each and every SQL query that is running to get these details from your SQL table.